This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Good Sunday morning to you. Welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. As part of Circle City Broadcasting's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, this show speaks directly to entrepreneurs to educate, inform, offer necessary information to develop the skills you'll need to start and run a successful small business. Unlike any other show in the market, the information here comes straight from successful business owners and community leaders who actually live, work in, and have vested interests in this community. Our goal is to provide useful and compelling content broken down into 7 segments every week, all designed to cover the important and frankly often misunderstood topics you'll face when starting a small business. Each week we look at getting your business started, options to access the necessary capital, and the accounting and bookkeeping details you'll face whether you want to or not. Also running your business day to day, and we provide topical news items related to things that happen in the business week. And as a final dose of inspiration, a success story. You can watch the show here every Sunday or catch the live stream on wishtv.com. You can also access all of our content, and please do share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. Our site is growing with new content and added resource information all the time. We encourage you to sign up for our newsletter, updated every Tuesday with more content. And be sure to subscribe and listen to the BE&O podcast at your desk or in your car. If you have thoughts about topics you'd like us to cover or you'd like to be part of the show someday, reach out to us. Email is beo@wishtv.com. Let's get down to business. Coming up on today's Business, Equity, and Opportunities. We start with a small business owner who turned to Kickstarter and found success accessing capital. In this week's Running Your Business Day to Day, we talk to a national expert in the rules and laws that guide the employer-employee relationship. And we hear a success story from an educator with a worldview who wants her students to develop their own too. In order to get your own success story on track, you have to begin. That's why we start each week with the Getting Started segment. It focuses on the things you'll need to consider when planning your business and offers helpful hints on where you can find resources and assistance to help you get off to the right start. The U.S. Department of Commerce Minority Business Development Agency provides services to help minority-owned businesses across the country. To that end, the agency recently awarded grants totaling $4.72 million to strengthen and expand a national network of business centers. Part of that money is coming to Indiana, one of 6 states to be awarded grants to operate new MBDA centers. The Indiana Economic Development Corporation applied for the grant and brought it home.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
David Watkins is Vice President of Small Business for the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. He works with thousands of entrepreneurs and small businesses across the state and is uniquely invested in creating an environment for small business success.
I think the place for any entrepreneur to start is their local small business development center. There's 10 offices across the state. Every single county is covered, so there's one near to anywhere you're trying to start a business. And there are some direct programming and assistance that's provided through the SBDC, but it's also getting connected to the ecosystem. I can't understate how key that is to small business owners. Getting connected into that ecosystem. The SBDC is certainly one of the best ways to get connected with that local office, get hooked up with a business advisor, talk to them about your business, talk to them about your opportunities, your strategy, what you want to do, what challenges you're having in your business, and then be open to the connections and the referrals and the assistance from there. There are a significant number of resources available for small businesses, so any way that we can help share that word, shine a light on the programs that are available, I think that's the best place for any entrepreneur to get started. What we do for small businesses and entrepreneurs and startups through the SBDC is at no cost. And this is part of our strategy for supporting entrepreneurship across the state. And the common question that we get is, well, I don't know if I'm a small business, or do I qualify, or I just have a side hustle, so that's not a that's not a business, and none of those things are the case. First, 99.4% of all businesses in the state of Indiana are small businesses. So greater than 9 times out of 10, if you're talking to a business owner, you know a business owner, you're a business owner yourself, you're probably a small business. And it doesn't matter whether it's just you and a side hustle, or you have an employee or a family member helping you out. Those are all opportunities to engage in the startup ecosystem, grow your business. It doesn't matter whether it's a side hustle or whether it's a rapidly growing existing business. There are resources available and people that you can talk to about your business, regardless of what stage you are. And most, if not all, businesses start small. So every business that we think of today that is globally successful and fast growing or getting investment from outside sources, they all started small. They all started somewhere. And we know the stories of businesses that started in garages or in a dorm room or that kind of thing. We know those stories because it's real. There are a lot of businesses that start from humble beginnings and grow to be quite successful. So really pretty much any entrepreneur, startup, or existing business can come and work with the Small Business Development Center. Probably the best learning that any entrepreneur has is learning from the entrepreneur who's a step or two ahead of them. And the folks that we have across the state working for the SBDC are by and large business executives and former entrepreneurs themselves. Many of them have been there, done that. They can say where the challenges have been, what solutions they explored, and connect them to others who have done that as well. There is a community of entrepreneurship in the state of Indiana, and it's probably one of our greatest assets because we like to sometimes call it Hoosier hospitality in action. We're inclined to help that next person who may be trying to start their own business that's similar to what we did and help them figure out how to navigate that ecosystem and get connected to other like-minded individuals. Entrepreneurship can sometimes be lonely. It's challenging. It is a challenging endeavor to start a business and employ people. But there are people available, there are resources available to talk to. Sometimes it's just picking up the phone and listening. What surprises me the most is probably the globally competitive businesses that we have in the state, in all areas of the state. In different areas, rural, urban, we have businesses that have been in existence for over 100 years. We have businesses that have been in existence for less than a year. We have seventh generation family-owned businesses in existence in the state of Indiana today. We have a rich heritage of agriculture and farming communities. All of these different things that I think a lot of people would be surprised at how globally competitive, if not dominant, some of these businesses are in places like Windfall or Argus or down in Jasper or Brazil, right? So they're all over the state. Truly incredible stories of entrepreneurship that continue today. And I think that's what surprises me the most is that not a lot of people know that, and I think they should.
For more information about how the Indiana Economic Development Corporation can help you create and get started a successful small business, visit our website, beoshow.com. If you have any questions for us or if you have a great story, please email us at beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. Coming up next in our Access to Capital segment, we meet a business owner who has found success through Kickstarter. And later, what you need to know about the assets and liabilities in accounting and bookkeeping. That much more when Business Equity and Opportunities returns right after this short break. Stay with us.
Getting Started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Access to capital is a key challenge for anyone hoping to start a small business. You have to find the money to get started. Each week we provide expert insight and some of the things that you'll need to know about where to look for those funds. Sometimes it gets helpful if you get creative in your search.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to Capital.
By day, Andy Klotz is Chief Communications Officer for Muncie Community Schools, but he also wears another hat, that of Vice President and co-founder of Scorebox 21, maker of the SB21 Portable Electronic Scoreboard for use when you play some of Indiana's favorite picnic games like Cornhole.
We formed Revelry Games over a year ago, and our featured product is Scorebox 21, which is really the world's first portable electronic scoreboard for Cornhole. It works for other games, but Cornhole is the hot game. We are just a couple of guys with a dream, and so we're working guys who have this idea and this project and have received a ton of great feedback for it, but we still needed financing, and so we've had to be pretty creative in order to get the capital to even get this thing launched. And so one of the things that we did, in addition to finding a couple of angel investors and a couple of other partners, is we decided to try Kickstarter, which we had no experience with prior to this. And we did a lot of research, and it's really something that you need to be prepared for, but it's a good vehicle to not only generate some capital, especially for a startup, but it's also a great way to get some feedback and find out about your product from people who aren't related to you or haven't known you for a long time. It also made us really delve into the best way to market our product because it's brand new and it's a new product, not just a new version of something, but a brand new product. It doesn't exist. So we have to figure out the best way to get it to people and make it sound appealing and look appealing. You really need to spend a lot of time figuring out what your financial goal should be because you have to determine the window that you have to raise your money in that window or you don't receive the funds from all of your backers. So you really need to find that right combination of the amount of funding that you need to get your business up and going, as well as the window of time that it'll take to generate those kinds of funds. And if you miss the mark in one way or the other, that can mean you're not going to have a successful campaign because not a lot of people want to back something on Kickstarter if they haven't done it before. So you really need to appeal to what they would want. For people who are on Kickstarter regularly and they have over 1 million people on there every month, so you're potentially getting to a whole new audience. But for people who aren't familiar with Kickstarter, it's not like ordering on Amazon. You're not going to get your product overnight or in 3 days. You are saying, I'm going to give you this money in order to get a product maybe 6 months or even a year down the line because it doesn't exist yet. But you do have to put a lot of time in to make sure that you are meeting all the requirements that Kickstarter has because they really try and vet all the projects very diligently so that they don't have people just coming in, putting something on and maybe scamming people with something they never intend to make. You have to go through a lot of hoops, and you have to produce a lot of materials in order to impress the people at Kickstarter to approve your page, even to have an account.
Well, I think if you're looking at creating any product, whether it's a crowdfunding endeavor or it's a new launch of something, you really want to showcase what that product's about. You want to educate the consumer, all the features and benefits, but also people connect, I think, with the people behind the product. So you want to tell that story as well. And I think it's especially important with Kickstarter because you don't have a track record, you're a new startup. In some cases, the product is new to the world. In the case of the Scorebox 21, it's a new to the world product. And so the video is so important to be able to educate those potential backers on what you're doing. And so when Andy came to me to talk about the project, I felt like we really wanted to put together a comprehensive video piece. So we wanted to talk about the features and benefits, so things like the portability of it, the durability of it, the quality of the material, but also the functionality of it, the fact that you can use it at day or night or across multiple types of games. And so the video needed to feature all those. It's also important too with Kickstarter that you're featuring the actual product itself. Kickstarter is a big stickler, and one of the things that Andy talked about was sort of the hoops that you have to jump through, and one of those is featuring actual product usage. Historically, there were companies who were creating rendered product videos, and it's easy to do that, especially nowadays. Anyone can go create a render of a product that doesn't exist, and now you end up with an issue with consumers where these things may not even be feasible to manufacture. So now they do require that your video feature the product in use. So that's a big piece to this video, that we could actually feature that. And so we knew we wanted to showcase it at these really 3 main pillars of use. So the tailgate, the backyard, as well as in a professional setting or in a competitive play scenario. And so we took it to a tailgate at Indiana University, got some great footage of some tailgaters there playing with it. Did a lot of work in backyard, so we set up a backyard play and kind of filmed it in use there. And then we also flew down to Texas and met with 2 professional cornhole players and filmed them playing in an actual tournament with it. So it got great tournament usage as well, which made for some great footage, but it also highlights the fact that you can use this in a more competitive play environment.
When you're figuring out not only your time frame and the amount of funding that you need to get launched, the other big thing that we really struggled at first to figure out is the reward tiers that you offer. Depending on what your product is, you've got to set an appropriate price that will attract somebody, and you want to have multiple reward tiers so that people who really like what you have to offer can buy multiple units of your product, or perhaps even a combination of your main product and something else that could be an accessory to the product. And if you package those together in the right reward tiers, then that will be really attractive to buy to people who have a lot of money that they want to put into your product, or just the base amount that will get them the basic product. So reward tiers is something to really spend a lot of time thinking about too. This is for your backyard player. And so many people are having friends over regularly to watch a ball game and tailgate, have a party, or they're going to ball games and they're playing cornhole for a couple of hours beforehand. This product appeals to those people because when you play cornhole, you forget the score. It just happens. Everybody forgets the score. And we found that when we use the board, you almost can't play the game without it anymore because it takes that problem and does away with that problem. We are at Scorebox21.com, and right now we are in the pre-sale mode. We're still getting ready to launch, so we're giving a discount for folks who do pre-order on our website, and then we expect to have inventory in and be able to ship out to customers in January.
If you'd like more information about how to access capital, visit us online, BEOshow.com. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter for more resources. Up next, in This Week in Business, find out what the state's new Cybersecurity Awareness Month proclamation can mean for your business. That and more when Business Equity and Opportunities returns.
I'm Scott Sanders. Thanks for watching this encore presentation of Business Equity and Opportunities. We hope you've learned some tips that'll help you start or grow your own business. If you'd like to catch up on past episodes or segments, watch us here every weekday or visit us at BEOshow.com. And don't forget, new episodes of Business Equity and Opportunities air every Sunday morning on Wish TV, or you can stream it live at WishTV.com. Fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Watch Business Equity and Opportunities from Wish TV.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
In This Week in Business, the Indiana Office of Technology and the Indiana Department of Homeland Security have designated October as Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Recently passed rules have increased the amount of information sharing about cyber attacks and other threats that might affect your business.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
Indiana Office of Technology Chief Information Officer Tracy Barnes co-chairs the Indiana Executive Council on Cybersecurity. He takes cyber attacks and threats to both the government and the private sector very seriously.
The month of October is always an amazing opportunity for us to continue bringing that awareness to the forefront of the challenges and issues that are facing us from a technology perspective today. Cybersecurity Awareness Month provides us a marketing opportunity, awareness, education, outreach, in order for us to get individuals, organizations, businesses, government partners, also bring back to the top of the pyramid there, the areas that they need to think about to protect their data, protect their assets, protect their customers, customers and protect their brand. We try to get that message out every day of the year, right? It's always a constant threat to fight the challenges, the bad actors that are looking to infiltrate and impact our systems. But we especially focus in October and helping make sure we spread that message as broadly as possible. There's a lot that can be done, right? It starts with having good cyber hygiene and good technology focus. No matter how big or small your corporation is, your organization may be, doing good protection of your data, having good password policies and other security protocols in place puts you in a much better position to sustain as an organization and continue growing and attracting the type of customers and constituents that you're looking for. The reality is it's not just a technology problem. It's a lot focused on behavior, making sure your employees are being trained and prepared and know how to look for suspicious emails and suspicious outreach, text messages, being aware of bad websites, things of that nature. There's a lot of activity that the organization can help put that information into the minds of the employee base, the customer base, the citizen base, in addition to making sure that they are bringing good technology partners to help make sure their solutions are sound. I would say it's even more important for the smaller businesses because they don't have a lot of the same levels of security and solutions in place. When you're starting to mix the world of technology with your business and personal activities, you're doing social media posting, you're browsing websites for personal activities, but at the same time you're logging in to manage a point of sale system. It's very easy for bad actors to find ways to grab those passwords, grab that information, and take advantage of that and compromise the entire organization. So when you're living in those two worlds and you're living in them in a combined fashion, organizations need to be a lot more astute and practicing even more hygiene and more solid practices with protecting that information, changing passwords more regularly, potentially using different browsers at different times to make sure that they're not sharing information mistakenly, that they don't realize the different cookies and things that are being captured and trapped as they're sharing data as they're doing that browsing. We have 30,000 plus employees that all have a very different way of looking, thinking, acting, and operating across our 90 plus agencies. And so we put a lot of good standards in place to help make sure that everybody understands what our minimum expectations are. We do testing and training on a monthly basis. We do send out scenarios and see where we can determine where folks are needing more education, more awareness. We are continuing to increase those standards and trying to continue that outreach and expansion of our relationships to make sure that we're getting as much of a broad perspective of folks to get a stronger mindset and a stronger practice with how they interact with our tools and technologies and systems. Well, one of the assets that we have put in place, if you go to our website, www.in.gov/cybersecurity, we have a number of toolkits that have been put together primarily by small businesses, different folks in different parts of the industries, healthcare, insurance, local government, higher education, K-12 education, defense. We have privacy toolkits, policy toolkits. These are all good starting points to help identify different places where small businesses can start just to look at how they're handling their data, how they're handling their operation, resources and vendors that are available and interested in working with small businesses, and really give themselves a good jump start on getting a better posture for their cyber hygiene and their overall technology footprint. So we are continuing to update that site and those tools on a regular basis, and we'll hopefully continue to make sure that those are valuable and able to be consumed by folks across the state. Cybersecurity is a priority. No matter where you are, no matter your level of economic footprint or status, how big or small your business is, you're a target. So realize that and act as such.
When we come back, if you have a business, you have assets and liabilities. Using them both wisely can lead to success. That's today's topic in our accounting and bookkeeping segment. Coming up when Business Equity and Opportunities returns.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Time for accounting and bookkeeping. In business, you need to keep track of your assets and your liabilities. The hope is to have more assets than liabilities, but often that's not the case.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Assets and liabilities, one puts money in your pocket, one takes it out. But knowing how to keep track and balance each of these may make the difference in business success or failure. Fifth Third Financial Center Manager Parminder Kaur explains.
Asset is anything that brings revenue to your business. And I would say there are actually two types of assets that any business can have. It could be a physical or non-physical in nature. Physical assets we call tangible assets, and that is their building, property, their equipment, their employees. And intangible assets are anything that's not in physical nature. That could be their goodwill, their trademark, their intellectual property. So those are all comes in intellectual assets. Liability is also an essential part of any business. It basically shows your credit worthiness towards your lender, because at one point, if you're a small business owner, you need to have some type of loan. And second, it actually helps you to get a deduction in end of the tax year. So at Fifth Third, something that we do, it's actually, I call it a business review. I try to do that actually with my business clients once a year. And reason for that is, they can be growing, they can be actually on the other side, going back. They are probably increasing their assets, or they are probably increasing their liabilities. So it's actually once a year to sit with your banker. It's a really good idea. So that way we can review all that to see where, as a bank, we can help you. Big advantage of sitting with your banker and doing the business review to see if you have assets, how we can make that money work harder for you. And then the second thing, if you have high liabilities, how we can actually manage those. If you are paying high interest rate, is there any way we can actually do a debt consolidation to see if we can actually help you to lower the rates and fix your payments, especially, as I said, how the market is today. We really want to see if you guys have any kind of line of credits that you are paying a variable rates, and see where your rates are, how much are you paying, and if you have 3-4 loans all together, can it be consolidated? At Fifth Third, we have different options that actually can give you extra security blanket. That when you just said, people are afraid that something is going on, what happened, and there are a lot of things at Fifth Third we can do. It's called basically you can have a full control on your business account. It's called a security suite. So basically you can actually see every day early in the morning what's actually getting clear. If it's an automatic payment, if it's a check that you wrote, and see if those things looks good, then you can say, okay, let it clear. And if anything looks fishy, you can actually stop it before it happens. When you say debt or liability, lots of people are actually afraid of this word. They don't want to have it. I mean, there are so many customers comes in my office when we try to explain, this is what we get. They're like, no, I don't want to go into it. But it's very essential to any business. The reason for that, one, as I said, it shows basically other lenders that yes, this person has a good history, payment history. It actually can handle all these different accounts. They are making payment. And second, as I said, tax deduction. End of the year is a huge thing. Any kind of deduction that a small business customer can have, that's all good, right? And also, if you need to take a larger loan, if you have anything on your account on your credit account, then it helps you in the future.
If you'd like to know more about this segment or any of our features today, visit BEOshow.com. There you can access previous segments, find additional resources, and upcoming business events. It's all designed to help you on your path to small business success. Also, be certain to sign up for our BE&O newsletter to find out more about business resources in our community. Still to come on Business Equity and Opportunities, find out what you need to know as an employer about family medical leave, what it means to you and your employees. And stick around for today's success story. We meet an Indiana educator with a new perspective on teaching. This is Business Equity and Opportunities, and we'll be right back.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. When running your business day to day, you must deal with a number of issues with your employees. Many of the day-to-day operations concern your staff are protected by the Department of Labor. The agency exists to ensure fair and equitable treatment for everyone. So it's vital that you know the law and keep up to date on how they apply to you.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
So a tipped employee is one who is going to be working in an occupation that's customarily and regularly at least earning $30 a month in tips. Okay, so this will include your servers, your bartenders, maybe your bellhops, or even any type of personnel that's serving customers over the counter. I do also want to mention that we do see something common is that sometimes employers will share tips with some of the back of the house employees, let's say in a restaurant industry, with your cooks and dishwashers. And so those employees are not considered a tipped employee. So if an employer is going to have tipped employees, they need to let them know obviously what the obligations are, that they're going to be paying these employees at a cash wage of at least $2.13 an hour, or pay a minimum wage, whichever they prefer to do. And so if the employer is going to pay the cash wage, and they must make sure that the employee is earning enough in tips in order to meet the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. So you're going to have an employee that has to make at least $5.12 in tips in order to meet that minimum wage requirement. The FLSA does not allow employees to work for tips alone. So like I said, if they're going to claim a tip credit of $5.12, or they're going to pay a cash wage of at least $2.13 an hour, they need to make sure that they're paying that before considering tips are received. Since employees are considered minimum wage employees, and the employer is not allowed to make a deduction from their pay for a table walkout, or for a cash drawer shortage, or even a dishware breakage, or even for uniforms, because like I said, that will bring them below minimum wage. Since they're paying them a cash wage of $2.13 already, claiming a tip credit of $5.12 per hour, that makes them a minimum wage employee. So any deduction from that will bring them below that, and then we'll have a violation there. Managers and supervisors absolutely cannot be a part of that tip pool, so they should not be keeping any of the employees' tips at all. We do have a couple different things with tip pooling, so if that employers can do. So if you have employees that are customarily and regularly working, in a tipped occupation where they're receiving at least $30 a month in tips, they can share that with other tipped employees. Employers, if they decide to pay all of their employees minimum wage and also receive tips, then the dishwashers and the cooks in the back of the house of a restaurant per se, they can then be included in the tip pool. But like I said, that's only if they are minimum wage employees. So if the employer is claiming a tip credit, the tip pool can only be for other tipped employees that can be involved in that tip pool. And then again, absolutely, managers and supervisors are not allowed to keep tips from the employees. So we have a lot of information for employers and also for employees that you can visit our website at www.dol.gov/WHD, or you can call our public phone line at 317-226-6801.
For more information about the resources available through the U.S. Department of Labor, visit our website, BEOshow.com. There you'll find more information about this segment and everything we do today. Up next in Industry Focus, we look at the commercial real estate business. That's when Business Equity and Opportunity returns. Stay with us.
Running your business, made possible by 1150 Academy. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. This year's Hispanic Heritage Celebration has, by the calendar dates, ended, but we wanted to bring you the story of a woman-owned business that specializes in commercial real estate with a specific focus. It has spent years finding ways to bridge the gap for business owners whose first language is something other than English.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
In commercial real estate now in Indiana, we are seeing a lot of trends. I think now we are seeing more of the, as they say, mom and pop businesses growing and flourishing. Before, we had kind of gotten away from that, and we would see a lot of big box industry happening, right? Now, with the onset of this immigration population that's, boosting the dynamic and demographic that we have here in our own state, if we're specifically talking about Indiana, it's definitely more of a family-oriented mom and pop startups that employ lots of people. And what we find with our clients, and especially with some of the help that we're able to give them, is not only starting the business, because that is already there with our community. The entrepreneurship and the business-minded, getting up every day, hard work, and creating something that's individual is already there. We're helping to put legality to it so that they're following all the right steps to have a flourishing business. So what we often find, I know with my clients over 20 years, started with one business, and now we're on our 23rd business, right? So I think that is something very exciting for us as a company, to witness the beginning of something, the duration, and then seeing this flourishing business owner that is really unstoppable. If you think about years ago let's take New York, for example. I used to live in New York. You have pockets and communities of like the Polish community, the Puerto Rican community, the Italian community, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on and on. And when the neighborhood businesses start opening up within these particular communities, it draws everybody there. Just like on the residential side of what we do, if we sell a home in a particular neighborhood, rest assured that the uncle, right, the tío, the tía, the primo, the prima, right, all members of the family want to live in the same neighborhood. So we're kind of mimicking in our neighborhoods now, and I could give you a whole list of them, that are very reminiscent of the way it used to be in immigrant communities years ago. We're seeing that happen here in Indianapolis, and it's a beautiful thing, because they all take care of their houses, they help each other out. It's a real sense of collectivism, where it's all about the group and not about the individual. And that's been a real honor for us to be a part of that. I think that the future for mom and pop businesses looks extraordinarily positive. I think that we have gone through this kind of societal thing where things used to be more of personalized, then it got away from that with technology and, hey, I'll just send you an email versus I'll call you up or I'll see you in person. With the Hispanic population, most of the deals that we do are in person. They're not over Zoom. They are not by an email confirming things. Now, this might add to what we do, but it's very much a grassroots type of marketing. It's meeting in person, seeing each other, eye contact, a handshake, and then making sure we have all the legal paperwork, right, that solidifies and protects all sides of the people involved in the transaction. So I see it growing, and it's extremely positive.
Up next on Business Equity and Opportunities, we meet an educator who's passionate about changing the educational system from the inside out. The path's been a life-changing journey.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. Today's success story features a local educator who has a very different way of looking at public schooling. She is determined to give her students the opportunity to experience the world.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
In today's success story, we meet India Johnson, a local school administrator who's rewriting the book on education for her students and having a global impact on their lives. Her journey to get here is an inspiration.
As a teacher, when I really realized that I did not enjoy the system of education nearly as much as I enjoyed the impact that I could have on students, I, as a teacher, I think taught in 7 or 8 different schools in 7 or 8 years. Did a lot of bouncing around. I was just unhappy and uncomfortable in those school settings. So I think in 2015, sometime during my admin program, when I was in graduate school, I started designing my own school model. Just really thinking about all of my experiences and what I'm hearing from parents and hearing from students and experiencing myself as a teacher. What do we actually need? What do humans need? So that's where it started for me, the idea of I want to run my own school. I did some applying for principal jobs, assistant principal jobs, and I could not get a job. I could not get a job, and an opportunity came for me to take a program that was operating in Oakland, California, and turn it into a school here. I did not realize that that opportunity meant that I was going to have to create and sustain the school model. I really thought I was coming in to be a principal. So the first year of that, I was given 3 weeks to design the curriculum, the master schedules, recruit the students, recruit a teacher. It was 2 teachers and 1 student. We had 1 teacher already. I need to recruit another one, recruit students, and sell this model, a 1-year high school for 11th grade students only in IPS, and we're gonna take your students to Thailand for 3 months. There was a lot that I had to do to convince people of this. And I'll say that first year, I was really operating in urgency. Because again, I had 3 weeks to create the model, and we were very much building that airplane as we were flying it. So we did 2 years of that. So then the next moment was after the second year of doing a 1-year 11th grade only school, taking students to Thailand. There were great benefits, there was great opportunity, and there were huge drawbacks, and there was some trauma. So I said I have to stop. And first I stopped entirely. I said I'm going to just resign and I'm going to close this school. And there was, community from CEOs of different organizations to parents to grassroots community leaders were coming to me saying, India, you can't stop this school. There's something here. So I said, well, I need a year. I can't keep operating like this. I need 1 full year to figure it out and do it right and do it with intentionality. So then I spent that year redesigning the school, and then we relaunched in 2020-2021 school year. I did not realize that the majority of the world did not see the world the way that I see the world. Since I was young, and I'm an Army kid, so I lived in Germany. So I was exposed to the fact that you could live over here and over there, and that it's accessible. But then I lived in Indianapolis starting at 4 years old, where I was so far east, I thought Keystone was the west side of town. All of a sudden, I lost access to the globe, and it just became, we drive down to Kentucky, where I was born, to visit family, and you come right back to the east side of Indianapolis, your world becomes small. But I always was like, the world. I want to see the world. There's so much, there's so many languages, there's so much, and if we're confused about things, or if there's pain, there must be a solution somewhere. Let's find it. It's somewhere in the world. Knowing that our students have that same experience, and they did not. A lot of them didn't live in Germany or live out of the country the way I did. So their solution bank is really small. Their critical thinking depth is really shallow because they've not been exposed to much at all. So we have to give them the world. It's our responsibility to give them the world so that they can start solving problems with a global perspective, as opposed to continuing to repeat the same patterns from a very limited mindset that have persisted for decades. This is a charge that I have to lead. This is not something that can be copy-pasted. This is something that everything that I've gone through to become the kind of leader that I am today, future leaders need to be walked through that process as well. So there's specific kinds of training. There's something to starting in undergrad and being immersed in education from 19 years old. I was working in schools. We have to start that. We have to start there. There are a lot of schools that are being run by people who didn't have that experience, who did not major in education. This is a career for me. This is my life. So when you do that, and then you go to grad school, and then you continue your education, there's fellowships, there's institutes There's so much that you can do, but you have to be a lifelong learner in order to be an educator, especially an education leader. When I was young, I said that I was going to get a Nobel Peace Prize for changing the face of education. I was a child. I have no idea why as a kid. That is what I would aspire to, and not like a Grammy or something. But I really care deeply about changing the world for the better. This can't be it. And I say that all the time. The way the world is right now, for most people, cannot be as good as it gets if we see so many miserable people. And I'm watching myself improve people's lives. Any one of my staff members would tell you, the students, many parents would say it, their lives are improving. This is something that can and should be done throughout the world. It can't be done the same exact way everywhere, but I think there are some tenets that we hold true here that can be applicable everywhere.
As always, sincere thanks to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of Business Equity and Opportunities. We hope you found this morning's show useful and inspiring. You can also always find more information about the show and all 7 segments on our website. It's BEOshow.com. There you'll find the segments to interest both business startups, those at the very beginning, and those of you currently operating your own small business. The topics always include new thoughts on getting started. The ball has to get rolling somehow. Also, how to access capital, running your business day to day, and tips about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature news and trends in This Week in Business, and of course always share a success story from one of our contributors, someone who's lived it, is living it today, and wants you to have inspiration as well. Perhaps one day you'll be one of our success stories. Join us next Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, here on Wish TV for a look into the world of small business. You can always also stream the show live on wishtv.com and find the content from our earlier shows and share it with anyone who can use it. That's on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. For even more, listen to and subscribe to our BE&O podcast, part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. And sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter. You'll get valuable updates and information. We make certain every week to add to it. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please reach out to us. Email address is beo@wishtv.com. We would truly love to hear from you and perhaps showcase your business one day. I'm Scott Sander. A sincere thanks for watching Business Equity and Opportunities. And stick around. Countdown to Kickoff is coming up next.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.